In this video, I want to speak about legs and why your legs may not be growing. I want to look at different things like volume and reps in reserve to make sure that you are hitting the proper rep ranges and you are training in the correct styles for what your goals are. As a starting point, volume is probably one of the biggest things that will make your legs grow. So looking at volume, the sets that you require across a week, looking at most of the studies, you're looking at about 20 sets per muscle group. And that is training within the hypertrophy rep ranges, which, say for quads, for example, I would recommend anywhere between 8 and 15 reps. And for hamstrings, you're probably more likely about 6 to 12 reps. Looking at calves as well. Now, calves, I would say for me, are anywhere between 12 and 20 reps. If you look at like your quads and your calves, they are being worked all day. They have a very high resistance. They are a big endurance muscle, and they do take a lot of effort to make them grow. Hamstrings as well, not used so much, can work quite well in the lower rep ranges, looking at the different muscle fibers. Each of these muscles are made up of different muscle fiber types, and I will share some infographics here which will help you pick what rep ranges that you need for them. I want to just give a bit of an example here. If you look at how males train, they generally come into the gym, a little bit of ego lifting. They will pick the heaviest weight they can, say on the leg press or the squats. They'll do 2 or 3 very heavy sets, maybe 6 to 8 reps, and many of them don't have big legs. Compare that to a girl, for example, who maybe doesn't go to extreme failure, not lifting ridiculous size of weights, and maybe training 1 or 2, 3 reps in reserves. Also doing a lot more volume and maybe training legs 2 or 3 times a week. With guys, quite often are training once a week because they're doing more powerlifting training. Even though your goal is hypertrophy, they will say they're too sore to train their legs for another week or 2. In some cases, I think it's just really poor excuses. Other cases, it's maybe lacking education. There's also a lot of ego lifting going on there. And we've all been in that position where we don't want to go in the gym and lift a lot less weights than what we know we can. However, you should pick your rep ranges and volume based on what your goals are. Although there's many studies and things that will back this up, let's just take the learning as a comparison with the girls. How can a guy help them get bigger legs? Well, do what the girls do. Try training your legs 2 to 3 times a week. Instead of doing powerlifting training in the 1 to 6 rep ranges, try to get PBs every week. How about training in the 6 to 15 reps? Probably better training 10 to 15 if I'm being honest, and making sure you're getting 3 or 4, 5 sets, making sure you're getting enough volume and making sure you're spreading that volume across the weeks. That allows you to recover from that volume. If you're doing 15, 20 sets in one day, your legs are going to be goosed. They're going to really struggle to recover. If you're doing that 15 to 20 sets and spreading over 3 days, you're more likely going to recover from that. Using frequency as a tool to get more recoverable volume. I think many people do sort of realise now that rest and recovery is where a lot of the growth happens, obviously with adequate nutrition and training stimulus, but the rest and recovery is where you're going to grow. Everything you're doing here, whether it's volume, training frequency, load intensity, whatever it is, training intensifiers, you need to be able to recover from that. If you can't recover, you're not going to grow. Also, looking at reps and reserves as well. Quite often, I don't see many girls training to the point where they're injuring their knees, they're getting tendinitis, they're doing all this damage to their structure. They are working very hard, but they're training smarter, and that's quite often the case with girls when they do things all across, not just sports, everything in life. They're much lower risk things they do because they care more about themselves more than the ego. Try that when you go into the gym. You maybe try and do 1 or 2 reps in reserves and try and do an extra couple of sets, ensuring you're hitting something like 15 reps, 12 to 15 reps in each one of them. And while you're working then, making sure they are good quality sets. When you're on the leg press or you're doing the squats, if your goal is to hit your quads, you're warming up and you're getting that mind-muscle connection, so you're feeling that muscle working. And then you're building up the volume or the sets in line with working that muscle and what your goal is. If you're managing 15 reps, but you can't feel it in your quads, maybe you need to come down the weight slightly and just adjust your form, adjust your foot position. Make sure that at the end of that, you feel like you've actually worked the muscle that you intend to work on. Try that. More volume that you can recover from, maybe more frequency, maybe higher rep ranges. And like anything, just keep adjusting. If it doesn't work, try adjusting a little bit more, whether that's more volume, more intensity, less intensity. Making sure you're getting quality reps, making sure you are getting that good mind-muscle connection. like any of these tips, if you do take them away, go and practice them, just keep adjusting. There is no one-size-fits-all for anyone. All the information I'm giving you is from my own experience. It's from my qualifications. It's from the multiple studies that I read and continuously trying to keep my knowledge up to date. These things will work for everyone. However, there is fine adjustments that people can make to personalize it for them. Obviously, working with a coach can fast track for you and guarantee you better results. But yeah, just keep adjusting. Try it. Doesn't work. Stick at it for a short time till you've confirmed it doesn't work, and then just keep adjusting and adjusting until you do find something that does work for you. I would always advise starting off with what they recognise, like what the studies are showing you, what the science is saying. If the science is saying that you are to 10 to 15 reps for your quads for hypertrophy, for example, start off with that and then move away from it. If you want to be a power lifter, train like a power lifter in the 1 to 6 rep ranges. If you want to be bodybuilder or build bigger muscle or have bigger glutes, train in the hypertrophy rep ranges where you are building bigger muscle all the time, which should be 6 to 15 reps for most muscle groups. And if you're an endurance athlete, you're probably looking at anywhere between 15 and 100 reps. And each time you go further away from the rep range you want to be in, the less likely are you're going to achieve the goals within that rep range. Hope that's helpful. If you do want more top tips straight to your inbox, stuff that I can't share, short form tips that you can pick up and read in 2 seconds, then subscribe to my newsletter below. And thank you for watching.